Hi, I'm Mike Hoffman, Editor-in-Chief of Inc., and welcome to Your Next Move, produced by Inc. and Capital One Business. As we all know, tech is evolving faster than ever, and so are the ways we optimize our work. Today, we're joined by two incredible founders who took unconventional paths into tech. Jacqueline Samira is the founder and CEO of Howdy.com, and Isa Watson is the founder and CEO of Squad. Isa, Jacqueline, welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah, thank you. Excited.
So Jacqueline, let's start with you. First of all, why don't you tell us what Howdy.com is?
Howdy.com is a platform for U.S. tech companies to build their software development teams in South America. We have offices all across Latin America, so everything you can think of from recruiting, vetting, HR, benefits, payroll. We are your outsourced logistics hub to build your team, build your office in Latin America.
Great. And Isa, why don't you tell us what Squad is?
Squad is a fan engagement and data analytics platform that's licensed to professional sports teams.
Who are some of your customers, can you say?
Some teams in the NBA and WNBA to start.
Very cool. And for Howdy.com, is your typical customer a small or mid-sized business or an enterprise?
Most of our customers are tech companies. I'd say in the growth stage company or the later growth stage companies, it's people that have a team in San Francisco or New York, and they're looking to build their second office or their third office somewhere in the same time zone. So small enough to be able to manage that, but then also big enough to have multiple offices.
I'm sort of curious about tech talent in this moment. What are the skills that people need to be successful, and what skills do founders need to bring into their organizations to grow their technology?
To be a tech company is actually a little outdated now. Now you need to be an intelligence company. So what does that mean? Well, first, it starts with how you vet your technical talent. How are they thinking about coding? What are the AI tools that they're using? How are they thinking about adopting and adapting in this new era? And that's really what we're looking for when we're vetting talent these days versus than how we used to do it even just a year ago.
Does that resonate with you?
It does resonate with me. And also, tech is moving so fast, and the deployment of new code is moving faster now than it did 10 years ago. And so the scrappiness, the ability to actually have very strong documentation, I think is more important now than before. A lot of engineers like to skimp on the documentation, but it's incredibly important with how fast things are moving.
What have you seen in terms of new standards?
There is a deeper technical expertise that's required. That doesn't necessarily mean you need a CS degree, but you have to have fluency in understanding a lot of tools, especially with the emergence and growth of AI and how they can actually integrate or impact the product that you're building and the product that you're scaling. And the other thing is just strategic thinking. There's a level of being able to distill a bunch of information into tractable components to make it digestible to both engineers and the business people. There's just so much more information. So there's a level of strategic thinking that I also think is really, really important.
You talked about the importance of being nimble and scrappy. So what does that look like in practice?
I think part of it is the incorporation of certain processes, right? Every few weeks or so, we're looking at the tech debt. We're sitting down and we're saying, hey, what are the things that we actually need to offload? Is the documentation up to date? Sometimes when you're growing super fast, people don't like those processes because you're like, oh, that slows us down. And that feels like bureaucracy. I just want to go ahead and get this done. But being very diligent and making sure that they adhere to the processes that we put in place to keep the code exceptional and to keep the code functioning well.
We have a team of engineering mentors, not even managers, that their whole job is to mentor developers. So the fact that you said that just warms my heart. So one of the things that we realized is once people hit a technical bar, where there are mishaps is actually not technical. It's actually communication. And so a lot of our coaching and mentorship is how to have the courage to speak up and to say like, hey, something's wrong here, or you know what, we're not going to hit the deadline. A lot of times when people get in that flow state or they're working, they don't want to let anyone down. So they would rather be quiet about something, maybe missing a deadline or about cutting corners than speaking up. And so much of what we've learned over the years is how to give people the tools to be able to communicate properly, to alert us in advance so it doesn't fall down. And so that's been really eye-opening.
We've talked about AI a little bit. Let's dive in. Are you AI optimists or pessimists or somewhere in between?
I'm an AI optimist. I mean, there was a moment in time where I was like, oh no, what's going to happen to the whole world? But then I just looked at history. And when we see all of the evolutions that's ever happened, it's only created more opportunities. When the printing press came about, everyone's like, oh my gosh, the scribes are going to be all out of business. It's like, yeah, they're going to be out of business, but if they change their skills, there's going to be more opportunities for authors. AI is an incredibly powerful tool. And even when AGI becomes real, I think it's going to be a lot more narrow than what we think it's going to be. And it's still going to be a human-powered tool. And it's going to give more opportunities for more people all over the world. And I think it's going to be a great leveler. And I'm really excited to see what comes from that.
I would say that I'm AI neutral for a few reasons. There are elements of AI where I am optimistic and the capabilities that it unlocks. But the reality also is that I do think from a macro perspective, it is going to create a very hard job market. CS used to be and has historically been such a great field of study. I come from a family of engineers. My dad was a computer engineer. And now there's this emerging view of, oh, we don't need CS to know how to code. We have AI to code for us. And so my concern from a macro perspective is, what is it going to do to our talent, right? If they don't necessarily understand or value understanding the fundamentals of the engineering problems that we're solving. But I think I'm neutral because we're moving much faster than we are processing things on a human level.
Within your engineering teams, what kind of skills are they asking for? What kind of training are they looking for?
We have two camps right now. There are the people that want to know how to use AI tooling. I think for us, software engineers in general tend to have more of a curious beginner's mindset anyways. But on the other side, it's like, okay, well, actually, how do we build an inference pipeline? How do we build our own large language model? How do we build our own real AI tool? And so we're getting more requests for that than the prompting, the tooling, because I think naturally that segment of the business tends to be more curious. They tend to be more early adopters of these types of tools anyways, and they're more self-taught.
I agree. For us, there's a huge data infrastructure that we had to build in order to layer on the AI applications. And there was a lot of, hey, is this the right approach? Do I have the right information to make the right decision here? It's a level of curiosity really kind of anchored in the fact that we're trying to build something new and something that feels more future-oriented than it does reliant on the past.
There's a lot of curiosity among founders about AI and how to use it within your company to optimize processes, non-technical processes. What are some ways that you've been using it?
We've done some really fun things with AI. We have one guy who tends to have all the information about all of the various components of the company. And so we actually built an AI bot that just duplicated his information. So instead of just bugging him with questions all the time, now everybody has the ability to use this AI bot with all the information, which has been really fun.
And how accurate is it?
It's totally accurate because it was built with all the information that he injected. And for the most part, it's actually working really well. And we also are implementing ways to think, how do we create something within our organization that creates more objectivity than subjectivity? When you think of annual reviews, it actually tends to be really hyper-focused on the last 3 months. So if you're looking at a full year, we don't have the best ability to zoom out and have equal footed from January all the way to December. And so we're thinking, okay, how can we draw on all this information over the course of the year to have an objective review of a person so we can give real feedback that's not time sensitive to the recency bias. And so that's one of the things that we're working on in building this little AI program to help have more objective reviews so people feel fair and they feel like they have a really clean picture of where they're at within the organization.
I love that tip about performance management because it shows people that you care about what they've done throughout the year, right?
At the end of the day, we work with technology companies and AI companies, but we consider ourselves a people company.
What about you? How are you using AI?
For us, it's been really impactful in helping us manage and implement processes. I think that it can be very easy for things to get out of control or to feel a bit chaotic, especially when you're growing very rapidly. But from note-taking, AI note-taking to make sure that everyone has central repository to all the information. The engineers can see what the customers are saying, what they're requesting, why. That's actually allowed for information to be used in a really strong contextual way across the company. And then with our customers who are, NBA teams, WNBA teams, there's AI tools that we use to actually kind of understand what do we think is going to happen toward the end of the season? And how is that going to impact how we're building or engaging with said customers, right? There's a lot of AI tools on the predictive analytics around how a season might end, right? It's not just, this is the team that I go for. We actually really want to be objective without, our own personal biases, of which we have a lot on our team, with, how the season is going to unravel, because that impacts our strategies and engagement with the teams.
Technology can sometimes be a cause for sticker shock. In terms of investments, what are some big bets you're making within your companies now in terms of where you're putting your money?
So for us, a huge investment that we're making is in AI education. And so we've developed a whole curriculum of, and like I was talking about earlier, where there's two paths: AI tooling and then actually learning how to build AI yourself. So we've built several modules around this that we're giving to our developers for free, because 95% of our team is software engineers, because we want to make sure that we're filling in all the gaps of their knowledge so that they can be not only upskilled, but be 5 times more effective. It's been really fun to see the adoption and the excitement.
I love the AI education. I might steal that from you. But one of the things that we've been investing in heavily is on the AI and the predictive tools that unlock additional value for our customers. So our customers, as professional sports teams and leagues, a few things that are big pain points for them. One is first-party data.
Interesting.
So as sports moves more direct to consumer, they have to do a better job of owning and curating their own first-party data. And so Squad actually helps them a lot with that. And the other part is unlocking revenue opportunities digitally that aren't just in the arena. And so a lot of the investments that we've been making are in building the tools and the capabilities, especially leveraging AI, that can deliver the value to them of dramatically increasing first-party data and dramatically increasing, digital revenue, because that adds more value to them, then that adds more value to us. And so there's that kind of positive feedback loop.
Well, that's interesting. I'm curious, a lot has been written and a lot has been said about the experiences of women in tech and as female founders in tech. Can you talk about your experiences? What are the areas in which it's been difficult?
It's unfortunate that people don't take you that seriously in the beginning. My company was the same company it's always been from the beginning. We didn't have any major pivots. We've always had the same purpose, mission, vision. And in 2021, we got into Y Combinator. And there was no difference between December of 2020 and January of 2021. But the fact that I got into Y Combinator, now all of a sudden everyone was like, oh, what is it that your company does? Oh, that's amazing. Oh, let's have a conversation. Let's meet up for coffee. And it's like, why did I need that to actually have you pay attention to what it is that we're doing? So my general experience is that we just have to be that much better, that much more successful before people even start to shine a light on you, which I actually think is a pro, though, in hindsight, because it allowed me to just stay super tunnel visioned on what it is that we were doing, what we were building.
Well, I've worn the underdog shirt with pride the majority of my life. To Jacqueline's point, we have to come into the room with way more than a lot of these guys and a lot of our counterparts have to come into the room with. And I had probably 200 doors slammed in my face before anyone took me seriously. And so I like to joke sometimes that on certain days and in certain meetings, I'm going to identify as a white man. If I feel like a little bit of an imposter, or I feel like, people aren't taking me, fine, it's okay. I identify as a white man today. And I am going to march as such, and nobody can tell me otherwise. And everything works out just fine.
If we had had this conversation a year ago, we'd probably be having a different conversation then than the one that we're having today, because there is so much change right now in the world of technology. I'm curious, with that caveat, what do you think is the next move for your company? Jacqueline, we'll start with you.
Just more of what we're doing and being more intentional about measuring results. We, like you said, 2023, very, very tough year across the board. We had success last year, and now we have that momentum. So how do we just keep going without taking our eye off the prize?
And Isa, what's your next move?
I think for us, our next move is global expansion. So beyond, the the sports leagues that we've deployed in the US and that we are on par to expand to, there's an element of, Europe, South America, Africa, et cetera, that, there are cultural nuances that are different. There's a lot of language nuances that are different. And so making sure that we are able to effectively scale when we, go overseas is going to be a huge undertaking for us.
Great. Well, Isa Watson of Squad, Jacqueline Samira of Howdy.com. This has been a great conversation, and we'll come back to you in just a minute. Now let's welcome to your next move, Emmanuel Offinghon, Vice President, CTO, Business Bank Engineering at Capital One. Thanks for joining us today, Emmanuel.
Thanks, Mike. It's great to be here.
Inside the systems of every business is a host of data. Let's talk about how companies can use that data to drive revenue growth.
From digital interfaces to customer relationship management systems, technology has given businesses more data than ever. When you look closely, that data offers clues into your customers' behaviors and needs, which can define opportunities for growth. For example, the customer data you already have can help your business personalize communications, online interactions, and offerings for your customers.
So what are some other data points that can help businesses find new opportunities for revenue?
Your point-of-sale data or CRM may show purchasing trends that lead to more sales or savings. For instance, if you notice that particular products or services spike seasonally, those insights may help identify opportunities for new promotions or plan for better inventory management, which can improve your cash flow.
And so sifting through all of that data and finding ways to make it manageable seems daunting. How can businesses overcome the challenges of managing so much information?
Yeah, it's true that managing data can feel overwhelming, particularly for smaller companies or those that are less experienced in analyzing data. There are a few key steps that businesses can take to set themselves up for success with data management. First, businesses should ensure that their data ecosystem is well governed. This means implementing clear, regulated policies for how data is organized, accessed, and used across the company. This will ensure that you're meeting any compliance requirements for how you use and store data. Businesses should also regularly evaluate the quality of their data. In order for data to be valuable, it needs to be trustworthy. In other words, it should be error-free, well-defined, and appropriately stored. This not only makes your data easier to govern, but also makes it easier to interpret and apply.
Emmanuel, thank you for being with us and sharing your insights today.
Thanks for having me, Mike. I really appreciate it.
Here at Inc., we report every day on how AI is changing the way we do business. Next, our own Sarah Lynch explains the benefits of embracing the AI revolution.
Thanks, Mike. You've seen the headlines. AI is everywhere, and its presence continues to grow. In 2024, AI investments surged to $110 billion, up 62% from the year before. The promise is that AI will make growing a business easier, turning labor-intensive processes, like sending collections letters, making sales presentations, or even writing routine code, into simple tasks that anyone can complete. So how exactly are companies using AI to level up, and what can you use for your own business? Businesses of all sizes are already using AI to streamline the boring stuff, automate risk assessments, research, meeting notes, and fraud detection, and make sharper business moves. It can predict demand and help you tweak pricing to stay ahead. The technology can even deliver experiences that feel personal, with AI-driven recommendations, smart chatbots, and tailored marketing. But let's get specific. Here are a couple of use cases for how AI actively makes businesses stronger, leaner, and more efficient. Take Neptune Flood Insurance. They developed Triton, an AI platform that's shaking up insurance underwriting by making flood risk assessments faster and more personalized. Their system processes thousands of data points, climate models, past floods, property details to assess flood risk instantly. Neptune Flood reduced customer service costs by 78%, cut resolution time by 92%, and saved $100,000 in 1 year. Then there's Aram Med Spas, which deploys AI-powered personalization to redefine skincare. The company uses Perfect Core's AI-driven skin analysis to scan for 14 skin health factors. What used to require pricey, bulky dermatology equipment now takes an iPad and a 10-minute scan. Plus, the software lets customers see their before and after comparisons, which helps them track their progress and see the results. The impact? A 31% increase in repeat visits and a 47% boost in spending per visit. If you're in sales or customer service, AI-powered tools like Salesforce Einstein can automate follow-ups, while chatbots like Intercom handle customer questions 24/7. AI assistants like Read AI have changed meetings forever with the ability to generate real-time transcriptions, summaries, and actionable insights. If you're focused on operations, analytics platforms like Tableau AI can predict demand, and finance tools like QuickBooks AI can automate invoicing. The trick is to find the AI tools that actually make your life easier. And while AI is powerful, you may not want to throw all your company secrets into it. Not all tools are secure, so be careful with your personal data. AI-generated policies and contracts should always be reviewed by humans. AI isn't done evolving. What's possible today might look basic 6 months from now. So keep experimenting. Find new ways to use AI tools and give new ones a try as they launch. And remember, no matter how much AI evolves, human decision-making matters. The businesses that win will be the ones that blend AI's efficiency with human creativity and strategy. Mike, back to you.
Thanks, Sarah. So this season, we want to give our audience access to founders like our guest today. Here are some of our readers' most popular questions about technology and AI. Okay, our first audience question is, what are your favorite tech tools?
There are 3 that come to mind. I just started this tool called Fixer AI, and it is incredible. It's like having a personal executive assistant with you at all times because it's writing your emails, it's looking at your appointment slots available. That has given me like several hours a day back, which has been great. The team loves ClickUp, where we have so many people distributed across so many different places, and it organizes everyone's task and to do and how it all, clicks up cleverly to the main objective that they're trying to achieve. And then finally, our sales team and our operations team love Gong because all of the sales calls are transcribed, all the action items are taken care of, and then it's all integrated into Salesforce. So all of the information and all of the data you can imagine is at everyone's fingertips. So those are the 3 ones for us.
I also have 3. The first is Fireflies, which is an AI note-taking tool. You have the ability to record it just from your phone. So I can actually have an in-person meeting that I just press record, and then it also, generates all the notes. The second is functional, but with an AI layer, and that's Notion. Our team, especially our product team, loves Notion. All of our task management is managed on Notion. And then the third tool, my sales and business development team would be remiss if I did not say superhuman. I call it kind of the COO of your email. Like, that's not important. Don't worry about that. Or, okay, hey, by the way, these customers are emailing you now, right? It gives you that prioritization layer across your email that just allows you to be so much more effective. Our team also says it just gives them hours back of being able to, do their jobs.
So our second audience question is about tech stack. So how can you assess the effectiveness of your tech stack?
One is, what are the error rates that are coming up? There was a pretty significant tool that we actually had to move off of because there wasn't enough flexibility here. So we were creating all these, creative solutions and workarounds, right? But reality is that we just actually needed to build a much more custom database. And so I think that, constraints where when they're popping up with frequency, that's something you have to revisit.
I look at it from a little bit of a different vantage point. My background, I'm econ major, got my degree in economics. So every quarter, we're looking actually at the cost of everything. And I'm saying, okay, well, what tool is this? And what is it doing? And what's the ROI of that? And I'm constantly challenging the team because, you give people credit cards and everyone runs away. Well, I'm going to add this little tool and I'm going to add this little thing. And it's all of a sudden like a death by 1,000 SaaS fees. And you're like, what is going on here? And so we keep it really in check for the tools that we're investing in. Collectively, we're going to get more ROI from having everything together. So that's how we review it and decide, are we going to make it, invest in it, expand it?
If you look across companies that you're familiar with, how do you sort of assess where those companies have the most room for improvement typically?
There's 2 types of CEOs. There's the founder CEO, and then there's the business management CEO. A lot of times where I feel like companies fall down is when a founder CEO is trying to be a management CEO. They're taking all of these courses on, this is what, the Harvard Business Review told me to do, and this is what this person told me to do. The same thing too from the management side of things. How much buy-in do they have with their company? Well, maybe they weren't a day one CEO. So where can they have leverage? So I think we need to be very intentional because everybody has a different version of why they're in that seat. And you just got to use the tools and the information out there that's most effective for you.
I would actually say that places where companies can grow and need to grow, and sometimes I've realized it in our own company, is really on the people side and upskilling people. I think it's very important to be intentional. We give each employee a certain budget to attend conferences, get certain training each year. Sometimes without the right upskilling of, management expertise and growth, it can actually stifle the team. And you have to really be intentional in investing in the people. But it's something that can actually hurt us the most if we don't intentionally invest in it.
Great. So our fourth audience question is, what do most companies get wrong when it comes to their tech budget?
One of the things that we have to budget for and is completely predictive is there's some usage components of our technology based on how much our customers are using it, their fans, right, and how with the frequency. And they're not always easy to get right, but with more information over time, you could become smarter about it. It also impacts the way you code, right? Because I can build something and I can have a query once, or I can build it without looking back and making it more efficient and realize that it's actually querying 5 times for that one thing, right? And I didn't update it, right? And so we have to go back and say, hey, by the way, our cloud costs shot up significantly. Like, what's going on? Okay, let's fix that and reconcile. And so I would say kind of usage driven.
I would also add that a lot of companies are penny wise and pound foolish. And so when they're thinking of building something, what we see a lot is like, oh, well, I'll just hire this freelancer, or I'll just do this, or I'll just do that. And then they hire a freelancer, or they hire this person here, and they hire this person. I've got this contractor here, I've got this guy here. And then all of a sudden it's 10 hodgepodge of very affordable resources that ends up being very, very expensive for you, rather than just sitting down, planning, being realistic about what it is that you're trying to achieve, and then making the investment. Because maybe it's more expensive up front, but in the long term, it ends up being way better for the company. You're going to have much better ROI, and you're going to be able to have more say and influence when you're building an actual team that's bought in, that's a core member.
All right, last audience question. You ready? So what's the best way that I can keep on top of emerging AI trends?
So I have a daily prompt from ChatGPT about the 5 major pieces of AI news that it just shows up in my inbox every single day. And it's been really effective of keeping me, at least personally, on top of what's happening and what's going on.
I actually subscribe to a handful of digests in New York and San Francisco, Silicon Valley in particular. Our investors are there, our team is here. And it'll tell me, okay, these are the next 20 events going on. And when I start to see interesting things that I'm I haven't learned as much about that, but I keep seeing that this is a meetup or this is an event, then I also go and I say, okay, tell me more about this, right? So the news is helpful, but also what are the conversations and the events that are happening? And you can kind of glean in and then even participate in them.
Great. Isa Watson, founder and CEO of Squad, and Jacqueline Samira, founder and CEO of Howdy.com. Thank you so much for being here on Your Next Move.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Mike.
And we hope you enjoyed today's conversation and it encourages you to use the latest tech to your advantage. Tune in next time for more industry leaders, breakthrough businesses, and the strategies you need to make your next move. Join us next time when we'll dig into more hot topics for business owners. I'm Mike Hoffman. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.